Mars One, do you discuss with your potential investors the risk of some crew members getting killed? And if you do, what is their reaction to it? If someone gets killed or if the first crew members don't make it, is that the end? How do you recover from that?
That's a really good question, and yes, of course, that's part of the risk that I explained to them. So sometimes the investors or potential partners are really naive about the risks, and I always immediately lay them all on the table. So first unmanned mission failure, first manned mission failure. We need to, you can only achieve a good relationship with an investor and secure an investment if you're completely transparent in those kinds of things. So we do. And what I tell them is how we plan to mitigate those risks. So for example, the first unmanned mission we can probably insure. The first manned mission, it doesn't matter if you can insure it because you have a loss of a crew. How we mitigate that risk to the extent possible is by landing the crew in a system that has been tested, similar, that looks a lot like the system that has landed all the cargo missions. So building on a track record. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed in a system that was never tested on the moon, which is in the current day and age completely unacceptable. And but if all that, we've mitigated all the risks, if then it still occurs, because there's always a risk, it's not a Boeing, and even a Boeing still has risks. If it then still occurs, that is the risk that the investor needs to estimate and take into his calculation when he signs the check. There's the risk if it will happen or not, and there's the risk if we will recover from it or not. In the perfect world, I would like to have 2 missions going to Mars at the same time, 2 human crews going to Mars at the same time, such that the chance of failure is significantly reduced, because there is always, if we assume that we can only do a mission if the chance of 2 failures is almost negligible, then that would be the perfect world. But of course, it's very unlikely that we will be in that perfect world.
Rebuttal from MIT.
So I guess my question would be, you said you lay out all the risks very transparently and very transparently examine how you would mitigate them. One question that I have that I'd like you to lay out for us is, so say you launched the first cargo mission. So you've done the demo lander, you've done the rover that goes around and does all the stuff, and then you do the cargo mission that is tasked with producing the ISRU resources for the next crew. If it fails to produce those resources, or fails to get to Mars, or fails to land, or any of those things, then a lot of the value proposition of Mars One seems to be related to the human aspect, right? Getting humans onto the planet. If your first unmanned mission fails, the value proposition has not occurred yet, what do you do?
That's an immensely crucial bit of technology, the ISRU. So it's actually already planned to be tested on our first unmanned mission, so the demonstration mission, the water extraction from the surface. I don't think that anyone is worried that we cannot extract nitrogen or argon from the atmosphere, but we can test that with relatively high fidelity here on Earth, and that's not the case with the surface. And we don't know exactly what the surface will be like in the location where we land with the first unmanned mission. Then the rover will also have capabilities of, we don't know exactly to what extent yet. It will depend on how successful the first unmanned mission is, but it will also have certain capabilities of investigating the soil for suitability of extracting the water from it.
Okay, so it's getting towards 10 o'clock. So what I'd like to do now is have each of the teams wind up with a 2-minute concluding statement. MIT first. Just give a summary.